On May 25th, US President Donald Trump pushed for expanding the Abraham Accords. His demand that Muslim nations fall in line and recognize Israel. He went through the list of leaders he had personally spoken to: Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed, Turkey's Erdogan, Qatar's Emir, Jordan's King Abdullah, Egypt's President Sisi, and then for Pakistan, he named Field Marshal Asim Munir. Not Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, not the elected head of government, the army chief, the general, the man who sits in GHQ, Rawalpindi, not in the Prime Minister's office in Islamabad. One post, one name, one very loud omission, and suddenly the entire world was asking the same question that India has always been. Who actually runs Pakistan, Islamabad or Rawalpindi? The debate is not new inside Pakistan. The military has dominated the country's power structure since independence. Pakistan has witnessed multiple military coups, generals have ruled directly for decades, and even under civilian governments, the army has historically controlled foreign policy, India policy, Afghanistan strategy, and nuclear doctrine. Rawalpindi, home to Pakistan Army headquarters, has long been viewed as the country's real power center, and Asim Munir's rise has only strengthened that perception. Since becoming army chief, Munir has consolidated extraordinary influence across security, diplomacy, and even economic matters. Several Pakistani political observers openly describe him today as the most powerful man in the country. In June 2025, Asim Munir became the first Pakistani army chief in 15 years to be hosted solo at the White House by a sitting American president, not as the part of a delegation but for a one-on-one lunch. Shehbaz Sharif was not in Washington that day. The general was. On his way in, Munir also met Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Pakistan's own government called it a strategic milestone. At the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit in October 2025, after the Gaza ceasefire deal was signed, Trump publicly thanked world leaders. He acknowledged Sharif standing behind him. Then he turned to Munir and called him in front of every world leader in the room, "My favorite field marshal." By December 2025, Trump had praised Munir publicly at least 10 times. He called him a great fighter, a very important guy, an exceptional human being. And in a December press conference at Mar-a-Lago, Trump said the head of Pakistan, a highly respected general, a field marshal, and the Prime Minister saved 10 million lives.
We stopped a potential nuclear war between Pakistan and India, and the head of Pakistan, highly respected general, he's a field marshal, and also the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 10 million lives, maybe more, by getting that war. 8 planes were shot down. That war was starting to rage.
Note the order. The general came first, the Prime Minister was an afterthought. Trump's latest post simply confirmed internationally what many Pakistanis already believe domestically. For Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, the optics were devastating because this happened publicly, globally, and at a highly sensitive geopolitical moment. Trump was discussing one of the biggest diplomatic projects in the Middle East, a possible post-Iran war regional settlement linked to the Abraham Accords. Yet, when it came to Pakistan, Washington appeared to bypass the elected Prime Minister completely. That triggered immediate criticism online. Pakistani commentators began asking if the Prime Minister is ignored during major strategic discussions, then what exactly is his role? This is especially embarrassing because Shehbaz Sharif has spent months trying to project civilian leadership and diplomatic relevance internationally. But Trump's wording cut straight through that image. One sentence effectively reduced Pakistan's elected leadership to the sidelines. The relationship between Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir has always been politically delicate. Publicly, both sides project unity. Privately, tensions are constantly speculated upon inside Pakistan's political ecosystem. Shehbaz Sharif represents civilian authority, Munir represents military authority, and in Pakistan, those two centers of power rarely coexist comfortably for long. Recent reports have pointed toward differences over India policy, military legislation, and strategic decision making. After the Pahalgam attack and regional tensions with India, Pakistani media reports suggested varying approaches between civilian and military leadership regarding escalation and diplomacy. That matters because Pakistan's political history repeatedly shows one pattern. Whenever civilian governments appear weak, the military expands influence further. And right now, Shehbaz Sharif appears politically weaker than ever. Trump's push for Pakistan to join Abraham Accords has now made things even more complicated. Pakistan officially refuses to recognize Israel without a Palestinian state. Public opinion inside Pakistan remains deeply hostile toward normalization with Israel, especially after Gaza. So Islamabad cannot easily say yes, but rejecting Trump publicly also carries risk. Pakistan desperately needs Western financial support, IMF stability, and diplomatic engagement with Washington. That leaves the civilian government trapped. And once again, all eyes turn toward the military establishment for the final strategic decision, which only strengthens the perception that the real authority sits in Rawalpindi, not Islamabad. And that brings us to the core question: who actually governs Pakistan today, the elected Prime Minister or the Army Chief? Trump may not have intended to trigger this debate publicly, but his omission exposed Pakistan's internal power equation with brutal clarity. And when the sitting president of the United States chooses to acknowledge a military chief over an elected civilian leader during a major geopolitical announcement, the signal becomes impossible to ignore. Pakistan's military establishment has always preferred influence without formal accountability. But now, that structure is becoming increasingly visible internationally, and that visibility carries consequences for Pakistan's global image. Because the world is once again asking a question Pakistan has never fully answered. Does Pakistan's government truly rule the state, or does the state ultimately answer to the generals?